Thank you, Dr. Dean. This is our 7th annual workshop. A lot of you have been here before. A lot of you saw Barb Babb last year. She made a presentation which I think will be remembered for a long, long time. The purpose of these workshops is to address the dangers of drug use and abuse. I think all of us here at Mascoutah, and probably all of you who are visitors and guests today, have experienced the personal tragedies and the sorrows of alcohol-related drinking and driving accidents. We have an opportunity perhaps today, as we have hoped in the past and in the future, to maybe reach a few more of you out there and get the idea about the dangers of drinking and driving and alcohol abuse. We're really proud of today's program. It may be one of the best that we've ever had. So that I won't take any more of your time, I would like to introduce to you a staunch supporter of the drug-free educational environment, Mascoutah District Superintendent, Mr. Victor Van Dyne.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome the SAD Club participants today to this 7th annual conference. I'm very proud of our SAD Club in the Mascoutah School District. We think that they have made a difference in the fact that we think we do have less students driving while drinking. And we believe that that has resulted in less injuries and possibly even deaths. Kids, if you really want to talk to the person here, we got a great speaker coming up here. And you really need to get in the mood to listen to this individual coming up because he's got a real good message for you. So let's cut out the chatter and let's get with the program. But I do think that the SAD clubs have really made a difference. And I believe that as a result of that, we see things happening in the schools that weren't happening before. And I think it's very important to have a conference such as this. I believe it's important for SAD club participants. I think they come away with many things, new ideas, possibly future plans for district programs, and a heightened sense of responsibility for the fellow student. I'd also like to thank our SAD Club chapter here in Mascoutah and their sponsor, Bob Cornell, for hosting this program. I know it takes a great commitment of time and energy to produce a program and a worthwhile event such as this. I really appreciate that. Also, if the participants have any problems or concerns during the day, feel free to contact the administrators and the faculty in the school. It will be very helpful to you. Hope you have an enjoyable and rewarding day. And I do want to thank all the participants for attending this conference. At this time, it gives me pleasure to introduce to you and welcome Dr. Lorona Morris, who is the Special Assistant to Martha O'Malley's office, Regional Superintendent of Schools. Dr. Morris is very active in many student activities in the schools in St. Clair County. Dr. Morris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Dyne, students, fellow educators, and guests. Last year, as our country and its allies moved strategically and successfully to end the war in the Persian Gulf, we know today that there is still another war yet upon us, that being the war against drugs and drunk driving. With this in mind, program participants, school administrators, teachers, counselors, especially students, and all members of the Mascoutah Red Blood chapters of Students Against Driving Drunk, Thank you so very much for allowing our office, the St. Clair County Regional Superintendent of Schools, to share in the benefits of this morning's 7th annual conference. The pleasure is ours, as we are always privileged whenever we receive an invitation to witness and experience the educational process in motion. Due to a conflict of commitments this morning, our Regional Superintendent of Schools, Mrs. Martha O'Malley, could not be here with us, but she has asked that I publicly commend and congratulate Superintendent Van Dyne for the use of these facilities, Dr. Dean, Principal, for his support of the conference, all teachers, presenters, and of course, the conference sponsoring organizations, which include In Touch, the Illinois Department of Transportation, Belleville Mental Health, Alert, and Mothers Against Driving Drunk. Especially, we congratulate and commend Mr. Cornell and all participating students for having planned and implemented this conference. A conference which has, in our judgment, evidenced itself through its program and design to address this most prevalent issue, that being drugs and drunk driving. And so as you strive to benefit from the offerings of this conference, we at the St. Clair County Regional Superintendent of Schools Office wish for you continual success in your efforts, as it is our hope that the end results of today's conference shall prove to be rewarding to all of us as teachers, parents, and students in the home, school, and community. Our support is with you because we know that excellence equals no drugs, no alcohol. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Our keynote speaker today is an ex-professional football player. He's also a 1980 400-meter intermediate hurdler Olympic candidate. But that's not the reason that he's here today to brag about himself. He's nationally known for his work in the areas of adult children of alcoholics and the common sense approach for refusing drugs, with more than 15 years of experience in prevention, intervention, teens in crisis, steroids, and substance abuse problems. He believes that peer pressure is strong only when the person within you is weak. Let's give a big Mascuda welcome to Mr. John Curry.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to those that have allowed me to be here with you this morning. I would like to say thanks to SAT and to Mr. David Wilho and to the superintendent and to everyone that had anything to do with allowing me to be here to address the student body this morning. I do know that it is important for us to take the right steps in order to be able to get across the right messages that we want to get across to the young people of today. My name is John Curry. I am 35 years old, and I've never used drugs or alcohol in my life. And what I would like for you to do this morning, I would like for the student body to stand, if you don't mind. And I would like for you to repeat these words after me. Thank you very much. for you to repeat these words after me, because, hear me out first, because it's important for you to know who you are. It's important for you to know that not only are you America's best, not only are you America's first, it's important for you to know that you are significant, that you do have something to offer to America, that you do have something to offer to your school, you do have something to offer to your parents, to your friends. It is significant for you to understand that. And I want you to repeat this after me, and just pretend that you're at a basketball game. Pretend that you're at a football game. Pretend that you're having fun. And repeat this after me. Can we go on together? Repeat. I am young. I am intelligent. I am bold. And I am strong. I have dreams. I have goals. I have self-confidence. I am not alone. I am up and sometimes down, almost level to the ground. I am happy. I am sad. I am sometimes outright mad. But I'm cool. I am smooth. I am a square that will not use. I have the power from above within myself to show love to my family, to my peers, to all people with a cheer. Because it's me. It's me. It's here. It's now. It's me. It's here. It's now. It's now. It's here. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's here. It's now. It's now. It's me. It's here. Give yourself a hand as you sit down. What I'm going to talk to you about this morning is something that we have been dealing with for many, many years. I'm going to talk to you about the dilemma and the challenge that you are faced with today. For years, it has been said that those who have never used drugs or alcohol cannot properly talk about drugs or alcohol. It has been said that it would be kind of like a bald-headed man trying to sell hair growth. It's impossible for him to sell it. I believe that it is good to get a fellow that have used drugs and alcohol for some 20 years that is now recovering to talk to America's youth about drugs and alcohol, and about drinking and driving. But I also believe that it is better to get another young fellow who has never used drugs to talk to the same American youth, to remind them that they have the power within themselves not to use. It's okay to fly with a pilot that may be known for having crashes, but if I'm going to fly, I would rather fly with a pilot that has never crashed. It may be true that one cannot talk about drugs or alcohol unless one has used them. But it is also true that one does not have to put a loaded gun into one's mouth and pull the trigger in order to know that the gun will blow his head off. It is true that those that use drugs and alcohol get more attention than those that do not. This is why we're faced with a dilemma, a great dilemma. But we, you and I, must meet the challenge of the hour. The word dilemma means predicament. You are faced with a predicament. You as young American, athlete, student body, are faced with many, many dilemmas of today. You are faced with trying to understand your parents as they try to understand you. You are faced with peer pressure to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. You are faced with wars and rumors of wars in our world and throughout this great country. You are faced with gang pressure and racial prejudice throughout this nation. These are many dilemmas that you are faced with. You are faced with teenage pregnancies and abortion at an alarming rate. You are faced with many dilemmas. However, I believe that you can meet the challenge of this hour. The dilemma of drugs and alcohol in our community. Alcohol is the most neglected health problem in this country. It ranks with cancer and heart disease as a major threat to our nation's health. Death from the cirrhosis of the liver, one of the many known physical conditions of alcoholism, have increased some 67% over the last 20 years. Alcoholism is complex. It is a progressive disease in which it interferes with many, many things in your life. Many times you, as young Americans, may drink to think that you're having fun, to feel that you're having a great time, not knowing that alcohol is calling your body to body rot, not knowing that it gives you a shotgun effect and begins to do things to your body that you never, ever imagined. Alcohol is serious. Alcohol is so serious that it causes people to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. Alcohol is a great dilemma in this country. Some 100 million persons are consuming alcohol every day. And of that, some 10 million or more are alcoholics. Of these, there are an estimated violent behavior attributes to alcohol misuse account for 64% of murders, 41% of assault, 34% of rapes and other sex crimes, 30% of suicide, 56% of fights and assaults in the home, and 60% of child abuse. But when alcohol is treated, it is a treatable disease which allows you to have a 65 through 80% recovery. But we must understand that alcoholism is a lot more serious than that. Because on the onset of one's use, one does not know that he may be a person vulnerable for the disease concept of alcohol. One does not know that he may have that little small genetic component within himself that may cause him or her to use and consistently use. One does not know that alcohol is an equal opportunity destroyer. It does not care where you live at. It does not care what your background is. It could care less who your mother and your father is. It doesn't care what race you are. It doesn't care how good grades you may get. It doesn't care if you're an A student or an F student. It really doesn't care what your preference is. The only thing alcohol is concerned about, and that is destroying you, young lives. But not only are we faced with alcohol, we're faced with the dilemma and the plague drugs in our community. Cocaine is the fastest growing drug problem in America. It is a $300 billion a year drug business. In 1990, 20% of high school seniors said they've used cocaine, nearly double the number of teenagers using 10 years ago. Among adults, some 20 million estimated to have tried cocaine, and now we have some 4 to 8 million regular users. Not only is there cocaine, but there's crack, which is smoked rather than sniffed. There's also cookies, which is a new form of crack, the size of cookies, which is also smoked rather than sniffed. Not only are there cookies, but there's smack. There's Happy Jack, Speedball, ice, many other substances that are plaguing our community. But last and definitely not least, the drug ice is known to keep you, those that may try it, those that may think that they can get away with it, those that think that they can just dabble and mingle around with it. This drug is known to keep you out of your mind for some 8 to 24 hours at a time, depending upon its administration. Yes, these are great dilemmas that you are faced with today. You're faced with drugs and alcohol. But I believe in America, I believe that it is a new day. I believe that the time has come for Americans, young Americans, that are number one in the world. I believe that the time has come for not only for you to meet the challenge of this hour, but to meet the challenge not only of electronics and automobiles, but to meet the challenge of not using drugs. I believe it is important for you to understand that this country needs you, that this country wants to employ you. And in order for you to be employed, you must meet this challenge. And the word challenge, according to Webster, means a call to fight. You, as young Americans, are called to fight for your rights. The right to be square. It's okay to be square. It's okay to feel different. It's okay if your friends may not like you. It's okay if you have your own personality. It does not matter if you're black or if you're white. It's okay to be who you are. It doesn't matter if you get negative peer pressure or positive peer pressure. Be who you are. It's okay to be square. If you do not want to drink drugs, do not want to drink or use drugs, if you do not want to be involved in any particular type of games, you have the right to say to yourself and to say to others, I will not use. Then you need to try the common sense approach for refusing drugs and alcohol. And what is that? Let's think for a moment. Common sense says, why go out and drink and have a so-called great time when the opposite takes place? People have a sad, bad time. Can you imagine going out to drink like some of my friends used to do? They used to drink all of the time. They said, Curry, why don't you go out? Why don't you drink? You think you're better than everybody else. Who do you think you are? You're no different than anybody else. They used to tease me. They used to say all kinds of negative things, trying to get me off of my square. But what I couldn't understand, and I pondered and I thundered with this, and maybe some of you are wondering the same thing. I couldn't understand, how is it that they're having a great time? I was with them last night. I saw the things that they was doing. I observed what they was doing, and I didn't think that they was having a great time. I saw Tommy trying to dance on the dance floor, and he was stumbling and falling. I saw Bill trying to slow dance with his girlfriend, and he regurgitated on her. and he accidentally ran into Mr. Oak. Mr. Oak tree that never moved. I saw all of those things and I asked myself, I said, is this fun? Are they really having a great time? I couldn't understand it. And then I began to wonder, maybe I'm missing something. Just maybe I didn't get it. So I had to backtrack and I had to go through the whole night all over again. And I came up with the same conclusion. And that conclusion is that they wasn't having fun. They was acting. They was pretending like they was having fun. But deep on the inside, they was hurting. They was miserable because they couldn't be who they wanted to be. They couldn't be that nerd or that square without feeling peer pressure of being a nerd or a square. They couldn't be the person that they wanted to be. Peer pressure is only strong when the person within you is weak. Why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to drive drunk? There are many, many students across this America that are daring to drive drunk. They leave home telling their parents that they're going to go and they're going to be in control, that they're not going to take that beer tonight, that they're not going to drink. And in the process, they find themselves drinking. Not only are they drinking, but someone is killed. Someone is slaughtered. Why? Because young people have not met the challenge which we're going to meet today. Why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to beat your girlfriend or to beat your wife? There are many, many athletes. There are many, many students that feel macho when they're drinking alcohol. They feel like they're in control. Alcohol takes a shotgun effect to your brain. It causes your brain to do things that have never done before. It takes a shotgun effect. It hits your sensory perception. It hits your coordination. It hits your emotions. It hits your balance, and it hits your repertoire. It hits all of those things. The whole concept of the brain. This is why people stumble and fall, and they laugh and they cry, all while they're drinking. So it is important for us to understand the common sense approach for refusing drugs. Why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to commit murder? Why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to commit suicide? It is ironic that those that are drinking to have a great time. They are drinking that they may be able to express themselves. They want to have a fun time. But what happens? Alcohol is a depressant. Can you imagine a man that is about to get divorced from his wife, or a young lady that is about to lose her boyfriend, begin to drink, and she's already depressed? Can you imagine the thoughts that's going to go through her head? Can you imagine what's going to go through the man's head? He's already depressed. And this is why we're tricked today. We drink for every reason in the world. We drink on all occasions. We drink when a baby is born. We drink when the baby turns 1 year old. We drink when the baby goes to school. We drink when the baby gets out of high school. We drink when the baby goes to college. We drink when the baby dies. We drink when we get married. We drink when we get a divorce. We drink when the sun is out. We drink when it's partly cloudy. We drink when it's raining. We drink for every reason there is. And we wonder why we have a double standard. We wonder why we have a nation about to be plagued with this disease of alcoholism. So the common sense approach tells us, why drink alcohol and use drugs when it may cause you to commit child abuse as well as sexual abuse? Why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to totally disrespect your parents? And not only your parents, but your wife. Not only your wife, but your friends and your peers. To totally diss your friends. To totally oust them. To totally turn your back to them. Why drink alcohol or use drugs? Above all, why drink alcohol or use drugs when it may cause you to become addicted for the rest of your life? Common sense would say it does not make sense to use alcohol or drugs into your life. You have the right to fight to be who you are. You have the right to fight, not to use. Don't feel ashamed when your friends want you to use drugs and you do not. It was like when I was coming up, they called me a nerd. They said that you wasn't in the groove, man. Hey, listen, you're not about the things that we're doing. You know, we're hip, we're in there now. You know, we're doing different things. I was told that, no, there's no need for you hanging around us today. Why don't you go on off and play some football and play some basketball? We don't want you running with us today. Because I wasn't cool enough. But today, most of those gentlemen and ladies that dare to consistently use, most of them now are either in treatment centers, hooked on drugs for the rest of their life, either in penitentiaries or dead. The choice is yours. You have to choose. What do you want for your life? The future is here. It's right before you. You have to choose. You have to decide on what do you want for your life. You have to fight for your sobriety. You have to fight to be who you are. Does that fight mean literally? Of course not. It means that you have to be strong within yourself. You have to have the courage to say no. And not only say no, but participate in you saying no. Be active with your no. Be active with you denying and declining drugs. It is important for you to understand. I believe this country has the greatest athletes and high school students in the world. But along with being the greatest athletes and students, there are some great challenges as well. The challenge not to use steroids or any other such drugs that may cause a cheat factor in your life. See, it is true that men, and young women want to enhance their capability. It is true that they want to be strong, that they want to do things that nobody else is doing, that they want to run the fastest time in the world as a Ben Johnson, that they want to be able to play football like a Lyle Alzado, that they want to be able to do things and be a bodybuilder like a Arnold Schwarzenegger. They want to be all of those things. But in the process of doing that, one is going to suffer the consequences of one's choices. I believe we can meet the challenge to be who you want to be. Not everyone can be a Michael Jordan or a Larry Bird or a Magic Johnson in the NBA. Not everyone can be a Bo Jackson or Joe Montana in the NFL. Or for that fact, not everyone can be Ozzie Smith or Jose Canseco in baseball. You have to do your best and be your best and let him do the rest. Now in closing, I would like to share with you a parable. And I would like to have your attention in this parable. It is important to understand. The parable goes that there was a man watching his son swim in a lake. And while watching his son, he observed his son swimming and having a great time. And in the process, he noticed that his son was beginning to have some trouble. That his son went down and he came up, and he was about to drown. And the father remembered that he could not swim. He could only look out at his son and offer help. And he went and he grabbed an old rope. He got the rope and he threw it out to his son. And his son grabbed hold to the rope, and the father began to pull his son to the shore. And in the process, the rope began to break, and the son began to panic, and the father began to panic. And he looked and he said, "Son, reach beyond the break and hold on." What I'm here today to tell you, reach beyond the break and hold on. Reach beyond the break of peer pressure. Those that do not want to see you to do good things. Reach beyond the break of drugs and alcohol. Reach beyond the break of disobedience and disrespect. Reach beyond the break of teenage pregnancies and abortion. Reach beyond the break of gang warfare and racial prejudice. Reach beyond the break of the ills of this society. It is time for you. It is time for you, America, to reach beyond the break. Reach beyond the break of criticism. Reach beyond the break of isolation. Reach beyond the break of depression and oppression. It is time for America's youth, you that are here at Mascouda High School, to stand up and reach beyond the break of your circumstances, beyond the break of the ills of your community, and do the things that you know you should do, and hold on to the concept that this country was built on. Reach beyond the break and hold on. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Curry. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for your attention. I'd like to once again offer you the challenge of youth and to remind you that peer pressure is strong only when the person within you is weak. Thank you again for coming, for making our presentation successful today. Mr. John Curry, Dr. Morris, Mr. Van Dyne, thank you all very much. We'll dismiss the fourth hour classes.